Let's get it started.
Double O.
Think like a rapper.
What's going on? What's going on, world? This is Double O, and you are back with Think Like a Rapper, the podcast. This is episode 106. We are in full on the first 20 minutes of every disaster movie and or zombie movie. And I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, DJ Mick. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. How are you? Am I supposed to be seeing me somewhere here? I see me in the corner.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I assumed that you were supposed to pop up, but somehow you didn't. So this is where we are right now. I don't know why. Okay. It's all good. What's going on? How are you holding up in all of this?
I'm good. This is my second podcast interview of the day, and I added a shirt on top of my pajamas. I did change my hat. My other one was just in a t-shirt with a beanie. I just thought, I might do another one later and put my glasses on.
How have you been? It must be fun to especially, both of us being currently out of work DJs. The idea that you don't have to wear full outfits to be present to anything.
I just walk around my house naked all day. It's great. It's a great time to be single. It's fantastic.
Yeah. The funny thing is, though, when all of this stuff started,
I'll give you the glasses too.
Oh shit! You can't use them. If you use them too early, then
I know. I gotta save these. For the next one. I have the whole shit set up in front of me. It's great.
But we are not new to this, right? Like, you've been working from home, I assume, for a number of years, right? At least a good majority at the crib. Has this been a difficult sort of transition for stuff to be shut down, or are you kind of settling into?
I mean, there's no money. It's like, that's huge. Like, I mean, I have a child and a bunch of other expenses that are not really podcastable, but like, it's I'm not going to make a music check until August.
Yeah,
it's pretty rare, At the busiest time of my year too. So.
Yeah. And
but it's an opportunity. It's good.
Yeah, you are a little bit different than some other DJs because you actually, at least I've assumed this, that you've always had kind of, because of your business degree, a little bit more business acumen than maybe the regular starving artist.
Can't stop a virus, though.
You can't. Is there anything that you've learned, at least now, or things that you had already put in place that oftentimes artists, and I know I'm one of these people, you don't know what to do with the regular checks because it's not an easy thing to balance as opposed to the 9-to-5 job where the same exact amount of money is coming every single day. Did you already have, or do you have sort of financial ideas already in place to deal with irregularity?
I have savings.
Okay,
it's gonna be non-existent.
Of course.
I've fully just owned that. It just is what it is. And it's not just like, but the flip side is at least I have savings.
Yeah.
Like some people don't, right? At least my work will come back in 5 months. Some people's won't. Well, they'll have to do something else. So like, but some people are working. It's all situational, right? Like, I'm irate, but at the same time, like, what can you do? Like, there's nothing. You have to just sit down. So I'm glad that my bank account will be zero when this is all done, and it's a great opportunity for re-hustle and reinvention. And again, it's tough to complain because literally everybody's going through it. It's not like I lost 3 gigs to somebody else and I'm mad because somebody else got them, or it's not like something got canceled and I really needed that money because it was like rent's due, my kid's birthday. Like, this is just like a universal shutdown. So it makes it easier to understand because there's nothing to really fucking spend money on.
Yeah, I guess the idea that those
outside
Amazon
of food
packages. Yeah.
but I'm not ordering, like, I'm only ordering like necessities on Amazon and a couple things to keep my kid happy. Like, he's going to get a lot of surprises over the next 2-3 months because, like, there's nothing that you got to do something. Like, it's just, sorry, yeah, you want a new puzzle? Well, you get a new puzzle. Like, you know, it's not your birthday, whatever. Like, we're going to, every month's your birthday now because there's just a finite amount of things we can actually do. So, like, we got to fortify the inside of the home. But besides that, you know, and I did order a lot of shit on Amazon preemptively, like staples of food and like cereal and like protein bars in case the world ends. But I was thinking about this today. Are you drinking wine?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I should. I decided not. I realized today, like, I got to either start. Every day I open the fridge and the freezer, and it's no joke. I'll send you a picture. There's like, actually, I'll show you. Like, my fridge, a really big fridge and a really big freezer, pause. And my fridge all is like, every shelf is like,
you're crazy.
sausage, like every shelf.
Yeah.
And then like every morning I have this like existential dilemma of, is today the day we crack this shit open or not? Should I save it because it's still available? So maybe I should save it and just Postmate some Chipotle or something because, you know, or walk to the store with a window and use Apple Pay and not touch any of these people and like get some, because like this is going to get worse at some point.
Yeah.
But is it going to get as worse as we think where there is like no, I don't think it's going to get to that point where like there is no food. There is no, like, I'm still getting Amazon Whole Foods deliveries to my house of green juices right now in the middle of a pandemic. Nobody stopped it. So like, and it's pretty bad right now. So I guess what I'm saying is like, you know, when do we crack open the reserves? Do you need reserves? Is this just what we should just be doing anyways? You know, am I really going to eat that much sausage? You know, there's a lot of questions, but I know it's going to last at least 6 months, you know?
Yeah. It was funny. I was talking to somebody today and I was like, we probably should be wearing gloves in the New York tri-state area outside all the time anyway.
I wear gloves. If I know I'm going to touch something, like, I wear gloves. I went running.
But I mean before the coronavirus.
Oh, before. Oh, like, maybe.
Like the disgusting things that we come across daily, we probably should have been rocking them anyway. Like, it probably.
Well, I was saying, they said we're cleaning the subways once a day. Well, what the fuck were you doing before that? Like, that's a very valid question.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that it's definitely put into perspective. Any OCD germaphobe that you may know, it's like, damn, they were probably right.
They were right. Yeah, for sure.
Did you already have sort of like morning rituals or daily routines that you were doing before all of this that you're still clinging to daily now? Or is everything?
They kind of got like wiped away with this. My routine was like, I mean, I don't really ever have similar days because I'm usually traveling 2 or 3 times a week. And then I'd usually be home by myself 1 day a week, maybe. And then I have my kid half the week. And so like those days tend to be pretty much the same. Yeah. Because I wake them up, get them ready for school, take them to school, get some coffee, walk back home, plop down at my desk. And that's half the week. So that routine has been completely disrupted because now, you know, we stay up a little later because why not? We sleep in. School. It's like, why not? You know, like he has 2 Zooms a day with his preschool, which I do one of them because they're the same fucking thing. You know, it's just because it's not quite the same. If he does one, I think it's good enough. Yeah. You know, it's just like, because he's not really getting anything from it. He just needs to see these people's faces and stuff like that, right? So there's that. So, but even within the confines of that, like, you know, just a lot of rules. I'm trying to be structured for him, but like, you know, it's like at some point you gotta watch more TV. Like you have to. Like we flip it to like some educational things, but like my role now is like you can have the TV on, but you just have to do other shit. Like so you have like he has every train in the world. Like build me the best city of trains you can, but you can have it on. But if I could look in the living room and you're not moving around doing something else or building stuff with blocks or like look, you know, I'm turning it off. Like, so I give them a lot of trust, you know, like my parents did for me. Like, you can keep it on, but you can't just, if I walk in the living room and you're plopped down on the couch and you're not doing other stuff and I bought you all this shit, either the toys are going to go away or the TV is going to go away or both, and we'll figure something else out. But like, you know, I trust him and he's starting to figure that out. And also, we're fortunate we have a backyard, so we've been spending a lot of time back there too. My days without him, though, I'm still figuring it out. Like, it's just bad. Like, I just go for walks around the block, but nothing's open.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty weird. I go running, but even that's kind of scary because like there's always somebody that just doesn't give a fuck and they just run all up on you. So there's that. Yeah. And so I've been running on the street, which is like unsafe, but more safe because there's less cars. But there's just a lot of weird things. One thing I will say, I have not hit that moment yet where I feel like I'm like relaxed or at peace, or like I actually took IG off the phone and I log in a couple times a day just to do the here's a hack for you. I still have to obviously post stuff career wise. Don't want to like go like napalm blank during all this, but I use the web app for Instagram and I just keep it logged in to the page with the DMs, and you can just keep refreshing it from the top, and then it reduces my urge to scroll. Right? Because like in the app, you have like it's just like boom, boom. It's just if I just keep the web app open on the DM page, I could communicate because I'm still like, I don't know. I don't even know how we set this. Did we set this up through DM? Maybe. I don't even know. Like a lot of communication still goes. It's a text now, right? It's not like sliding into the DMs. All that shit's probably happening more now than ever. But it's a viable communication tool. I didn't want to get stuck in the useless scroll because I found for me what it was doing was like, I'm still a fucking super present full-time dad 3 times a week, 3 days a week, sometimes more. So I'm not going to, I don't have like, I give so much respect to all the parents who are working from home full-time and being a parent full-time. It's probably easier in some households than others, but that's a very daunting chore that we're all stepping up to do and figuring out ways to do it. Like, maybe you are going to watch Bumblebee one more time because I got to do this interview, but things like that. You just make those trade-offs, right? Especially my kid's 4. Like if he's 10, it's like a different story. But it's better to have him before than like, I don't know what people like. If you have a newborn, you're pretty fucked. Like you can't have like a babysitter come over so you could work. You can't do a lot of these things. Like I just talking to a friend of mine today, her nanny was living with them and she just like, she wanted to go outside. Like you go outside once, you ain't coming back, right? You're not going outside for a walk around the block. Like you're going home. Like you're going to other people. You go like, bye.
Yeah, you can't come back. Yeah.
You're off. You're voted off the island. So it's just like that's a real thing that a lot of people are dealing with. But the other reason I took it off my phone was because relaxed pandemic porn has taken over hustle porn and hypebeast porn as Instagram du jour. Yeah. That's driving me nuts because I'm still spending a lot of time chasing all the remaining checks that are due to me because now, whereas I might have been forgiving of delay, well, that's just, we got to get this. I mean, this is what we got. We got to get this in, right? And I'm trying to set up income streams during this process, which are taking a lot of time to set up. And I'm also just going through some real life shit that's also taking a lot of time up of my day. So like I haven't spent, you might see me post 3 books on Instagram next week talking about how great those books are. Then I'm reading them on this break. But I'll tell you right now that like I maybe opened one of them and maybe like read the back cover of the other 2. Now they will all get read, but like I'm not at all in that relaxed zone. And like I did the push-up challenge and then at lunch I did the shot challenge. And then, I'm just like, I'm working on all these ideas. And then from 3 to 5, I write my book. And then at 5, I write a 5K. I run a 5K 6 feet apart from like other 5K friend. Like it's the same shit. Yeah. It's the same shit everyone has always done on social, but now it's pandemic porn.
Yeah. I know you're in the Silicon Valley world, but are you familiar? Are you familiar? Do you know Tristan Harris? Tristan Harris? Yeah. He's Silicon Valley, Google, but he's like their ethical. He was in the ethics department and all of that, and he's got a bunch of stuff. If you want to just look it up in terms of hacks to make all of the apps less addictive. Addictive. But the thing that he said the most is, well, the 2 things that I've adopted and may be helpful for you too is to first put everything in folders. because if you put everything in a folder, then you essentially have to swipe down and type in its name to find it, which will give you the extra step of it being like, oh, this is a thing I'm looking into, which is different than just, oh, there's a button, here's Instagram, it's open again, and let me click on it. Yeah. And the biggest thing, and I haven't been able to do it, I guess on Samsung phones you can actually time it, but on iPhones, putting it in grayscale.
Oh, yeah, you could totally do that.
Because the immediate color change makes it less enticing of a thing to pick up and look at, because you're just looking at this gray blob. It's not as interesting as the forest is, basically.
Sure. Well, I'm not going to get a Samsung phone, but
you can grayscale the iPhone.
I know. I'll talk about the timing, but I will say that what I do, because it saves passwords and everything. You know what I've been doing is until I discovered the browser hack, I've been deleting the shit right off of my phone every time I'm done.
Oh, right after you're done.
Yeah, because it only takes, you just go to the App Store, type in Instagram, it downloads in 30 seconds, and then your password's saved. So you're talking a 45-second true barrier of entry from downloading it to being logged in. I mean, worst case, maybe a minute if the shit's slow. It just, for me, that works too, because then I actually feel like, I don't want to say like earning it, but like I feel like I'm like, if I'm going to check these messages and I'm going to do this, I'm putting in that I'm going to sit down for a minute and really, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Cool, I'm going to do it. And I'm taking it off. And there's like a finite definition to, there's a definitive ending to doing that, because I don't want to waste 5, 6, 7 hours a day swiping through shit right now. A, B, I'm over the relaxed, the pandemic porn is what you're saying. I'm over it. I'm probably contributing to it, to be completely honest with you, but like I'm still over it. So that's an interesting duality. And And here's the other thing from a psyche perspective, and it's just like it poured all day yesterday, like all day. Like it's the first day we've had we've had pretty good weather during this, almost to our detriment, because the first day
it's amazing right now.
It was like 82 out or some shit that one day when they announced this, and it was like 75 degrees, and everyone said, like, fuck this. We're all like, it probably set New York back 2 months because the weather was good that day. Had we had the weather we had yesterday, the day after everyone freaked out about this, we'd probably be in a much better position, because everybody would have just stayed the fuck home and internalized this. But when they tell you all this and then it's like 75 and sunny, like it was like last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
And everybody was out there and then, fucking it up for everybody. And so, but then after you have a week of staying inside, with the exception of your, walking, your prison, walk in the yard, if you're lucky to do that, there's the whole when you get the rainy day, and in addition to not being able to go outside, even to the front of your building or your stoop or whatever, but also like the no sunlight coming in. No, you're not even looking outside and seeing anybody walking because nobody's out. And then on top of that, rainy days, gloomy. Like yesterday was a rough day. A lot of my friends were talking about like this, it hit home. Yeah. Because like you can't even go out and get your 1 minute of escape. You're just stuck.
Yeah. How do you think, to be a little local really quickly, when we do come back from this, how do you think New York is going to ease back in? Do you think it's just going to be immediate? No, it's Afropunk right now, and it's just all ready to go. Like, is everybody going to Prospect Park?
I mean, that would be amazing. I wish.
Because it does feel like that this is going to have some sort of larger societal effect, especially in places like this where, you're okay with your apartment being smaller because you're going to be outside all the time. And right. Now that has essentially been taken away. And, I mean, man, kudos to those people that are in like basement apartments or things like that. Like I couldn't even.
My neighbor just sent me a picture right now. Apparently she figured out how to get on her roof, and she's doing yoga on her roof. I didn't even know that you could. I don't know how she got up to her roof, but
hey, I mean, like, you got
drastic measures. Like I'm sure it's not safe up there, but it's probably safer there than on the street. So or at the store. So good for her. I'm sure she's breaking her lease.
But yeah, do you, just to philosophize a little bit, do you think that there are larger implications to this? Do you think it will somehow settle back into the regular, or like it's gonna be different from now on in some way, even if a mild way?
It's going to be different because it will get back to normal in like 4 months, but like there's still going to be some distancing, and there's still going to be people that haven't gotten it. And, your man Trump wants to bring this shit back to normal like in 3 days. Like he's like,
Yeah.
well, let's see what happens. We got to open these businesses. And
He's on his Drago shit. If he dies, he dies.
Like, I get it, but like that's just really not the humanistic approach to it, and it's not going to be helpful. I mean, you could open your business, sure, but like if 20% of your customers die, like I don't know. I guess you're still making 80%, but who chooses? I mean, nobody needs to play God and decide that, right? I would never want to have that responsibility to do it. So it seems a little premature and presumptive for him to do that. Which is par for the course with him, and that's not a conversation that we really need to have. But I do think that like you're not going to see any sort of like large scale concert things for a while. It just seems too much. I think
my job. Thanks.
Yeah. And mine doing mostly branded events, right? Like the same thing. I think you're going to see fever checkers. It's like, it's going to be like the new like metal detector.
Yeah.
It's going to be the fever checker when you go into venues and stuff like that. I think that's for sure going to happen, and then what's scary is like, like for where we come from, like not like born, but like the worlds we've lived in and maneuvered in, there's always dudes that can get around, like, it's like there's always like metal detectors at the club, but then somebody still gets shot. How did that happen? Like, there's going to be dudes, right, who like, oh man, I'll give you 200. Let me go around. I didn't feel good today. I still got to go to the show. I'll give you 200. Slide me in the back. There's going to be weird circumvention of shit like that, which is, crazy.
Extremely dangerous. Yeah.
It's more dangerous than shooting one person, which you could do. Like, it's like, nobody's thinking about that. There's always a capitalistic way to get around everything. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the norm, but it's going to definitely happen. Like,
100%.
Like there's going to be a VIP line for people who are close to a fever, like, not one that people know about. But like, I just know from being in nightlife all these years, like, you're not supposed to do, the shit I've seen, the shit you've seen is crazy, and it's all illegal.
Oh yeah. Do you think there's a larger financial sort of implication where like these large events, these shows that we do, these nightclub events where it's like, yo, it's $5,000 to buy a table, like where the bounce back from this is going to mean that everybody's prices got to come way the fuck down in order to get people back in the door, that we get to this place where we aren't riding on that wild sort of hog anymore. Like, can we actually, and this will lead into the next sort of question, can we actually get back, at least in the club, day parties, things like that, back to this place where I feel like you and I grew up in, where it wasn't arm and a leg to get into a spot to just enjoy music before the bottle service kind of came in.
Yeah, that's going to happen because people are going to be so excited to do anything. Like, I think you walk by a park and you see a classical music band, you're going to be like, this is the dopest thing I've ever heard. And I would actually think that's dope, but like, you know what I mean? Like any sort of like human touch is going to be like phenomenal, especially if you're sequestered. I was telling somebody the other day, like every girl's going to have to give every guy a pass in August. Like, if you nut in like 30 seconds, like, I'm sorry, right? It's a real, like, my bad. Sorry, I didn't invent the pandemic. Like, it's just
exactly.
Everyone's like it's like born again virgins, right? Unless you're like married or have a fiance, your girlfriend, somebody you live with. Think about that. Like, that's like a really real thing. You're just gonna be like, holy fuck, sorry. Well, tomorrow this will get better.
This
right?
will get.
But this is like, you feel like you're like, like 18, 16, whatever, like, because you're just like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I think that's a very extreme example, and it's kind of funny, but it's not untrue, but
yeah, everything is going to feel like that.
Yeah. Everything's going to feel like that. Everything is going to feel like, I went for a walk this morning, and there's this guy cutting the grass in this little park. And from 6 feet away, of course, I smelled the grass. And I was like, fuck.
That's grass.
yeah, right? Like, it was mind-blowing to me. I just stood there like a fucking idiot for like 2 minutes and was like watching this dude like cut grass, because it was mind-blowing to me, because I haven't had any like full-on stimulation that involved audio. I heard the weed whacker bullshit, and I know this sounds stupid, but I'm being dead ass serious. Like, I smelled the grass. I watched somebody that wasn't me or you in a square or something on a big square on the wall, or somebody that was 4 do something that was boring as fuck but fascinating. I smelled it. I saw it. The sun was out. It felt like, I felt like an Olympic athlete winning the gold medal or something. It just felt so amazing. So I think we will, at least God willing, to the end of the year, start to honor those moments that we took for granted before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I think I don't. It's funny because, especially here where there's so much concrete and there's not a ton of green space, I think people really do get it twisted and forget that, like, we are meant to still be connected to nature in some sort of way, and even just being outside and walking to the subway or on a spring day is still connecting in this very specific way. And when you deprive that, it's when it really starts to feel like, oh yeah, like, oh, these senses, these sort of, I almost wonder if we are tamping down the noise that we've had in our life with everything going on, and that those more natural, very basic, instinctual sort of things kind of just find their way back to us, where it's just like, oh yeah, this is where I was always supposed to be anyway. Like, it was always supposed to be, this.
I mean, it's going to happen temporarily, and then it's just people are just going to get right back to it.
Yeah. But I do wonder, like, especially as it relates to like live music, nightclubs, those sort of events, if enough time will happen where people are just like, yeah, I'm not going to pay for that at that price anymore. People might not pay $300, $400 to go do a Coachella style festival, or $700 to go. Well,
you're right there. I do think the average person is not going to have that disposable income for at least 6 months to a year to get back to that point. If you're not working. Assuming you're lucky even enough to come back to a job, right? I don't think that that's going to, I don't think that you're going to be able to go spend those sort of luxuries. I think smaller things for sure. I unsubscribed from a bunch of newsletters, not newsletters, but like marketing emails, like for like, I don't give a fuck what's on sale at Crate and Barrel right now. Right.
But even in talking about that,
I don't want to think about spending any money right now.
But don't you think that stuff is healthy in general? Should you even be subscribed to that thing to begin with?
No, I mean, it depends. I mean, sometimes, but I get on too many things, and I think it's going to be a nice reset for all of that stuff,
Yeah.
For sure. Like, I'm unsubscribing from everything. I'm going through my credit cards this week, and I'm looking at all the auto bills, because, like, I didn't even realize, for me, it's a lot of times it's like time spent barrier entry. Like, if it's like $14 a month and I don't even know what it is, like, and it's just like, it would take me hours to deduce it, and then I got to call like 4 countries and continents over to like unsubscribe. I might just let it go. And I think that's how they win.
Yeah.
And we all did that. And it doesn't even have to be, it could be $4. It could be $1. Like, some of those things you don't even notice, right? I don't go through my credit card statement religiously. I go through it and I look, and if I see something over $100, I make sure that it's like me. But if I see it like $12.99, something data service fee, I'm just like, oh, it's probably from like the 97 websites I bought that I never, launched. And it's like, I just assume the cost of canceling it and the cost of changing it is my time is more valuable to do something else. But now I don't have anything to do. So I'm like kind of going back through and I'm like taking all of that shit off, and it make you realize like that, you know, I mean, what I said in theory is actually correct, but also in theory, it's not. Like in theory, you should not be paying for shit that you're not using in general at all anyways. So I'm like, it is a reset. You know, I like literally I have a really bad habit. It's not a bad habit, but I've had it since college of when I eat lunch, I would eat lunch in front of my computer in the dorm, and I still do this to this day in my kitchen, and I only read like NBA news on my iPad. So my iPad was just like 20 tabs of like every NBA site, and I just consume it. And then that became to dinner too, if I'm having dinner by myself and Miles isn't here or whatever, or even sometimes when he is here. And there's no season, like there's no news. How much more NBA news can we not have? So I literally closed all those tabs, and now I'm literally only reading shit from things like Business Week or like, you know, the Times or like the Wall Street Journal, and like things that are going to actually enhance
benefit you. Yeah.
But I had to close all those tabs, and now I'm literally just using the New York Times app only or the Journal app only, which I'm probably paying for. But like,
of course.
So it's totally fine, because it's just like there's no excuse for me now to be like, yeah, but it's the trade deadline's in 2 weeks, or Kobe just died, or like you know, the Celtics. Like, there's no way I'm just.
Yeah. What else have you found yourself catching up on, and I know a little bit of it, but what else have you kind of found yourself catching up on that maybe you were like, oh, this is a thing I've needed to do. I've needed to fix this fucking sink forever, or, you know, whatever it is. I've been meaning to do this production or this whatever. Like, do you find yourself catching up on things that you know you should have done?
No, I mean, I will. I'm still kind of like digging out of the hole of what I had to go through, some stuff that I have to complete first. You know, and then also this shit does get like wildly depressive some days. So I'm just like, I'm trying to be at peace with myself. Like last night I was doing all this stuff, and I'm gonna take a bath at 8:00, and I'm just not going to probably come back upstairs. I'm probably just going to go to bed, you know, not like depressive, like sad or like anything like that, but like, just like, I was just like, so my body said to do, I'm just going to do it. It was like,
have you not, cause I feel like as I hit 40,
are
you 40? About to 41 in a couple weeks.
So 42.
But I really started to enact a self-care protocol daily in some way that made sure that there are those times where, it's just like straight up Epsom salt bath or, you know, whatever, and have that time to not be on shit. Is that something that you've done, or are you noticing it now as something that you probably need to do?
I've done it, but I've always felt guilty doing it because there was always work to do, or there was always, you know, other things I could be doing. And I've been running nonstop for a multitude of reasons for a decade, 2 decades, you could argue, but definitely for a decade or longer. And I am kind of looking forward to, like, once I get some of these like low hanging obligations off of my, you know, tree or whatever, like that, to do that. But I did find, you know, it was actually interesting. I had a little existential dilemma the other day. Like, I realized my apartment has a yard. I'm really blessed in that regard, but I don't really have anything comfortable to sit in the yard. And I was like, I have like a picnic table, but that's not like, no one's going outside. You're not reading a book. You're not going to like, I'm going to sit at my picnic table and read a book. Like, you know, this is not. So I was like, do I splurge right now with nothing coming in on a chair, like a nice thing that you could sit and read, because it's not hot. It's going to be nice for like 2-3 months now without bad weather, right? Like, really. So I'm like, is this an unnecessary expense? But then I'm like, I can't really go buy anything else, and I can't really go anywhere, and I know it's safe. So if there ever was a time, like, is this a self-care moment, or is this a self-indulgent moment, or is this an irresponsible moment, or is it a commerce moment? Is it all four? And if it is all four, can that be okay? So like, I ended up buying a chair, like a lawn chair, like a nice one from Crate and Barrel, because they had a fucking email newsletter, and it comes tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But like, then I realized like this will probably be like the last indulgent thing I buy all summer. But I also was like, if I can only literally every day go outside, that's the only thing I can do. Isn't it better to just be comfortable than like,
no, I agree.
Like, you know, because I'm not going to restaurants. I'm not going to like anywhere. Like, there's nothing else. I don't need anything. I'm not buying clothes, not buying shoes. I can't walk to the coffee shop. So I was like, if I'm going to spend money on anything, I might as well spend money to make the little bit of sanity I have better. You know, yeah. and I had to like, and I first of all, I just wasn't gonna do it. I was like, no, this is completely like unnecessary. I'm just not gonna do this. And then I was like, you know what, man, you're gonna kick yourself. You're gonna be sitting, you're gonna go outside and you know, sit on a rock.
You could though. Your ancestors have. They sat on rocks. You know? You're using coronavirus as a therapist, and I love it.
Yeah.
It was just, you're analyzing you're putting those barriers in front of your in front of your thoughts. Like, wait a minute, is this the right thing? Am I thinking this because of X, Y, Z, or because of this? All right, it's the right thing to do, which everybody probably certainly could do. To shift gears a little bit, because I know you've been, since you said you were downloading and deleting Instagram, you were doing a live stream the other day for your birthday. Happy belated.
Was. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on, obviously D-Nice is probably the person who is, I don't know if to say benefited because we haven't seen what the outcome kind of is, but to see DJs being touted as these amazing cultural things from their living room, speak on that a little bit. Do you have any thoughts about it? Is it always like I told you so, I told you what I did was always extremely important? Or what
do you mean I told you so? Like, what do you mean by that?
No, well, I think oftentimes...
Oh, like what DJs do in general is important?
Yeah, I think what happens is, especially because of controllers and because of like the digitization of DJing, it's become very easy for people to claim that they're DJs. And I feel like this weekend, with everything that you...
My cat is rubbing on your head. So I gotta...
That's how you gotta do it.
This is really fun.
With kind of, Michelle Obama and everybody jumping in D-Nice's live stream, and you and Just Blaze and Questlove and all of these DJs kind of coming online in the live stream sort of space. I think oftentimes we are taken for granted in a variety of ways, even though it is extremely core, even environmentally, to making a situation party or any sort of event kind of go off. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on it, seeing kind of all this, or if you've been paying attention, all this sort of online accolades for.
I mean, it's a lot. I really wish there was a way in Instagram to disable the notification of somebody going live.
There have been too many lives.
Like, I get that you're live. I almost wish they could create a separate live tab rather than mess up all the stories, because it's like now when I look at the stories on the top, it's just like everybody's live, right? And it's, I mean, which I get, and I did it also, so I feel you. But like, some people are doing it a lot. Like, I don't mean DJs. I just mean like some people. Like, I read something today on Guess If a Guess. It was like, just because you can go live doesn't mean you should. Like, But also, if you have 300 followers and you're just walking your dog, and your 300 followers are actually like, let's call it what it is. We can make the case as entertainers, we're going live for our audience to give them value, right? That's a little self-indulgent too, though, because this is what we do for a living. But if you're like soccer mom, Glenda in Iowa, and you're just walking your dog and you have 300 people that follow you, and it's just your cousins and your coworkers who you're not going to see because you got fucking fired, and your cousins who you're not going to see because they can't come over your house, and you go live with your daughter and your dog, and you're just walking your daily walk around the block, you could argue that has more intrinsic value than anything an entertainer could do, because her 300 people that I'm like, because at first I'm like, why the fuck is Glenda? And I mean, I don't know if it's the real person, but we're like, why is she going live? Like, she's not us. And then I thought about it. I'm like, she has much more value going live because her people actually are her people. like her actual people, not like just people that like, you know, we need people to support us too, obviously, or like we couldn't have careers if people didn't come listen to us DJ. But like her going live actually has a much more holistic purpose. Like these are probably
she knows
her family.
those people.
She knows those people.
Yeah.
They actually want her to go live. They want to see her dog and her kid and her, you know, because they're not going to come over to crib. They're not going to be able to do any of that. So that's a really fascinating thing when people go live who are just like, why are you going live? Well, maybe because you're going live for the right reasons, and we are too in a way. But like if you look at if you distill it down to basic like human shit, like she's probably more right than we are, though it seems from a narrative perspective that she would not be. But you know, that's something that came to mind. You know, it's almost like how we use Instagram versus how other end users use Instagram. I use Instagram to grow my business. It's 100% authentically me. Everything is super real. Like it's like, thank God I have a nice life that I'm able to showcase. And I always am like, man, yeah, I don't want to see, like, sometimes I look at people's Instagrams and I'm like, this is fucking horrible. Like, what do you, like, this is like, did you not put any thought into it? And they're like, no, because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, there
like,
is
that's
some.
Cool. Like, that's like really, like, that's the reality.
The one thing I will say, though, is there does have to be a delineation. And I try to tell this to people, even people that are not necessarily using it to grow a business or grow whatever, is that like if you are not a producer on it, right? If you're not producing something, artwork, pictures, music, whatever it is, even just commentary, even memes, if you're not producing something, then you are a slave to the algorithm and you are essentially being used to generate a shit ton of income for these companies. And it just should always be thought of in that way. Like you are one of those babies from the Matrix plugged into the machine, just generating data that generates income, or you turn on your producer hat and use the same information to build something yourself.
But not everybody wants to do that, has the skills to do that, has the time to do that, or cares. Some people really just want to put their dog on there and put their, you know, whatever. And that's just what it is. And they don't need to have it look beautiful. And they don't need to have it like if they did all that shit, then like when we did shit, like it wouldn't resonate as much, right?
Yeah, but
I think it's just like people. I think people sharing their everyday. I'm not saying I'm about to like start making my shit ugly and I'm crocheting it, playing bingo and shit either. But I'm just saying, like, I think there's never been more of a time to embrace the normalcy of it.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying more is like, even if it is a way to produce a version of your life, because that's obvious, you're taking the good parts and posting it. It's knowing that, okay, that's what you're on the app for. You're not on the app to be fed a ridiculous amount of, be on the app for that, not on the app to just be fed a bunch of information, a bunch of ads. Like for whatever reason yesterday, Instagram is trying to sell me electric bikes and electric scooters like no other. When I tell you I have 17 freaking ads of just like Super 73, rad bikes, whatever it is, they clearly want me to get out here and get a bike. And they all offer really good credit terms too. So it's extremely enticing. But I recognize, I think I would just love for everyone always to recognize that, like, be conscious of the fact that that's what's happening. It's not something, it is not something that's happening that's just a benign, altruistic scenario. They are using you to make money and then taking your money by selling you random tights on Wish or different ads. And it's just something to always kind of be
No, it is. It's just like they're getting, like, you're getting in a way double fucked, but you're also getting free entertainment. Like, like, so it's just like, you watch the TV, you got to watch the commercials where you did, right? And you got to pay the cable company for the right to watch those commercials, right? Or you did. So it's the same thing, just a different metric. I think we're both right.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't want to keep you on here too long, so I'm trying to just see what the I'm trying to get to this I'm trying to figure my way to the last question. Let's just get back to the shit that we do, which is
Instagram break while you're figuring this shit out. It's a good time to re-download the app.
Yeah. Well, what I think has been very interesting, at least in this short amount of time, is that I feel like the year, as crazy as it's been, has also produced a lot of like really great art in terms of music over the last couple of months, where I feel like last year was like, it was okay. It was solid. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I feel like there's this really, yes, the Jay Electronica album, the Mac Miller album, the Donald Glover album.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody was waiting, but this almost feels like also the perfect time because everyone is forced, even though streaming is down, which is a very interesting metric, that streaming music is down in a time where everybody is stuck.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is it because people are consuming more? Well, maybe because people consume so much music outside the home.
Exactly.
Now because Netflix is up.
Yeah, and now that Netflix is up and now the Hulu's up and everything, you're going to sit there and watch television. People aren't trained to just be in the house, not just playing music, not doing, not watching something or doing whatever, which is very interesting. But I feel like the records that have come out have been super dope. Have you dug into anything?
No, not yet. I mean, the Jay Electronica album, for sure. Yeah. I mean, which we talked about a little bit too, but just as a fan, there's no way I wasn't going to hear that. And that came out like the day after the world ended, so that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Everything else,
I'm glad.
I'm really glad too. Everything else, I plan on delving into. I just haven't had too much of a need because I still, when I listen to new music, it puts me in a more discovery for work mindset. Versus like when I listen to old music, it puts me into a state of happiness mindset. Which is
how do you separate that? I'm interested in that because I was talking about this on Twitter with Andrew Barber from Fake Shore. I put in place probably like 2 years ago I forced myself to listen to new music in sort of like a 90s protocol, which is that if I choose to press play on this project, I'm going to
listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to sit with it. I'm not listening to it once. I'm sitting with it for that weekend, especially since stuff shifted to Friday. It's like I'm sitting with it for that weekend. I'm really sitting with it to get out of it what I think I would have had I bought a CD and had to really live with that thing in a car and drive around and be like, do I like this? Well, maybe I don't like this.
What's the album that surprised you in that regard? Like that you would have skipped, but after living with it, it was better than you thought? Or let's not say better because that's a subjective term.
Yeah, I say that I would not probably have dove into like either like the Roddy Ricch or like the Baby Keem albums. I would have treated them like you're kind of talking about, which is like, okay, what's the dope record that I need to play? Let me make sure I have that. Let me make sure my cue points are on in it. Okay, cool. That's done. But really sitting with them, it's like, oh, there is a lot of enjoyment to get out of these new guys and these new ideas. And I can, when you live with it long enough, especially, you start to see the references. And it, for me, as a hip hop head and as an older hip hop guy, it gets really interesting when you're like, oh, their older cousin or their dad probably played this when they were younger, and they didn't even know that it's seeping into their. You don't
hear it. No, and that's true. I guess for me, it was always a mental thing of like, I just church and stated my shit. Like when I was getting ready to go DJ, I listened to all that other stuff, learned what I needed to learn, enjoy a lot of it. But like, for me, it was just like, I would feel like I had, this is just me. I'm the way I'm wired. If I listen to stuff like that, it's not necessarily contemporary, but more like
club
/ club.
Yeah,
right?
like club music. If you listen to club music outside,
you know, like it
club.
makes me feel like I'm going to work or I'm listening for work. And because I work so much, like the last thing I was trying to think about when I'm not working is the act of DJing. Right now, I think that will shift slightly because I'm going to want to feel like I'm DJing. Right. Yeah. So maybe I will listen to that more so from that mind state, because if my way of thinking is not going to help me in 5-6 months when this shit resumes, because if I keep that mind state now, I'm going to have like a 6-month gap of nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I have to retrain how I think about it, because I never really missed anything. I mean, I missed a few things, but like I have a shit ton of young DJ friends who keep me super on the pulse. But like I know like 90% of it, but there's always a couple things that like, you know, slip through. But now, I mean, I'm not out. I'm not living it.
But the funny thing is nobody's out. So it's going to be really interesting. The first club gig is going to be so interesting for everyone, because no one's really going to know
come
what.
In 30 seconds.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. You can end right there. That's.
I will. That'll be the last. Yeah. But what I do want to end, because I end this with the same question every time, which is, you know, I do this podcast because I feel like hip hop has taught me a ton that I've been able to use in a variety of avenues, not just simply in hip hop space. And what is one thing that you've learned from hip hop that you use in your everyday life?
Ambition and hustle.
Yeah.
From the beginning, whether it was hearing somebody scratch break beats and didn't have the internet to look them up, and trying to figure out a way to go to record stores in the middle of America to get these things before anybody gave a fuck about this stuff, that took a lot of effort. Or it could go all the way to hearing Jay-Z rap about being a billionaire before he was, and making you work like, man, I need to figure out how to make more money. Or it could be something simply as, you know, just being inspired by like someone's journey, like, you know, no matter what it is that they do, and trying to like adjust, especially now as we sit in this time of reflection. I think hip hop's always been entrepreneurial. It's always been ambitious. It's always been about hustle, depending on, I mean, however you want to frame hustle, you could find that somewhere within hip hop culture, no matter how you view it. You know, for me, it's always just been that, like, this culture inspired me to become who I was. And then this culture enabled me to do what I do. And then this culture also enables me to show other people how to do what I do so that they can do it. Yeah. And that's, to me, the whole thing. You know, if I wasn't inspired by all these things that had different inflection points over the course of my whole career, now I'm of the age where people come up to me and say, you inspired me to do this shit. Not like necessarily to become a DJ, but like I was part of the overall, like, you know, the tapestry that helped shape them. And that to me is like, you know, now I get a lot of inquiries like, how do I make my brand more diverse? Or how do I, like, people have seen the moves I made and asked me those questions. And I'm like, that's really cool. But like, that's like, but because of the touch points of hip hop and how people seem more connected than in other cultures, you feel like you could ask that because it's a more community-based culture versus like sports. You know, it's just different, man. You know, it's going to be tough. It's easier to DM a DJ and ask him a question. And I mean, I don't get back to it. It's just impossible. But like, I try to sometimes, you know, and or when I do talk to people. But you feel culturally, maybe it's easier to relate to somebody in this world than maybe an athlete or like a politician or like, you know, I can't DM TD Jakes and be like, yo, what's God think about this virus? Like, it's not the right fact. But in our worlds, it doesn't matter how big the rapper is or the DJ is, like, there's that chance that you think they might, right? And
there is that connection. There's connection to this thing that you guys both hold dear that makes it so like, oh yeah, they're all, you know, maybe potentially they're always looking to give back. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. I'll give you back your time now. You can have it back to go do all the things that you got to do.
A scooter because it's super sunny out now. I'm like,
yeah,
so
go take a walk and enjoy it. Thank you, man. Thank you for
I appreciate you. And also, I said I've known you for like fucking 15 years now, almost. It feels like probably is 15 years. Like, we're alive and we're happy, and I'm just like, we're really blessed to be that. Like, this has been a crazy year, even before all this shit. So anybody I've known for a long time in my life, I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you as well. Thank you for the
time.
time.
When we're all not here in 3 months, I'll hope you're
exactly. When the zombies come, I will kill you last as a zombie because I'm definitely not becoming one.
Appreciate it.
All right. Peace.